a number of colleagues who have served for many years in the justice chain. We are observing from 25 up to 40 years of service. And I think that is an indication of dedication to this industry and this ministry. During the church service, the Reverend did mention that justice is for one and for all, and our theme this year for Justice Day is Justice Prevails. In order for justice to prevail, it requires input from those who have to oversee that the justice system is properly put in place and properly operated in our daily lives. Justice is not only about fighting crime or those who don't live up to the law pay the penalty for that, but justice starts with each and every one of us in our hearts, in our homes, in our community, and then throughout the entire island and hopefully around the world. So justice is something that starts with each and every one of us. It's not up to the Minister of Justice, it's not up to the Chief of Police, it's not up to the governor or government. It is each and every one of us that have to play our role and our part to see to it that justice prevails. I know for a fact that we have many hard-working servants who put their lives at risk for justice. There are those who work very hard just to make sure that justice prevails. There are those who give it their utmost. It is their life, it is their calling, and that is what they do. Although we have not reached where we wish we could be in terms of justice, the battle against injustice never stops. It continues, it goes on, and the more we do to prevent injustice, the more those who want to benefit from injustice, they too step up their games. So we have to equally step up our games in the fight against injustice. We have an address scheduled by the Chief of Police, Mr. Carl John. And Mr. Carl John was one of those who also thought that we would be starting at 11 o'clock. But like I said, we are ahead of time. So we are giving him time, hopefully, that he would reach here to make his address to you in time. We also have some awards for outstanding employees. And in the justice chain, it is so difficult to single out an individual as the outstanding person. Sometimes the work is not just one person, but a group of people. So in this ministry, and in many cases, it is very difficult for us to just single out one person and say this person is the outstanding employee or worker for the year. So very often we have to look at a group of people because this is samenwerking, this is cooperation, this is working together. And no one man will ever achieve that on his own. So, they say when you call the name of an angel, he appears. And so the angel whose name I just called has appeared. And now we will have an address by the Chief of Police, Mr. Carl John.
Mr. Clark, for me me to be able to say something. And I want to start by especially addressing the minister um, in the sense of this is not an easy ministry. And whoever takes the challenge to take the ministry of justice, because we do not produce much finances, it will be always a challenge. Minister, when you started, I remember you saying, I will not accept that you do not work together. And that stayed. I want to further thank also the commander of the fake ass. Everyone know that the past week was very, I must say, interesting for me as a person. And sometimes we don't know how small things have big meanings for others. Thank you, Commander. As you may see, I'm a bit not myself. I remember nearly 2 years back, I stood and I was asked to give an address also on Justice Day. And one of the persons who were recognized was Benji. And a few weeks after, in the line of duty, we lost that hero. I'm here late, or we're here late. We're celebrating Justice Day, and our brothers are trying to rob in town. My officers are right now dealing with a situation, again, of a robbery in a jewelry store. I must say this time it did not work out the same, but it's a very difficult moment, I think not only for me, for all the officers who are here sitting. But let me try to be strong and do the address the way it has to be done. I did not think about coming and giving a speech. The whole time I thought about this, I said, one thing I want to reassure everyone when speaking about myself. And that's the answer also, and I must say it, to my challenging week last week. I am a humble servant for 30 years. I can reassure you that I'm proud to be an officer in the St. Martin Police Force. I am proud to be an officer in the St. Martin Police Force. And I guess that will answer every question. For members of the ministry, my colleagues, my brothers, expectations that everyone have of you. And sometimes it's easy to say, it's not my fault. But I think we should set expectations for ourselves to be responsible for results that no one ever expects that we can achieve. Set that as a goal. Be responsible to yourself to achieve things that no one thought we can ever achieve. And Maybe that's a dream, and talking about a dream, Martin Luther King. On the 30th of December 1964, Martin Luther King won the Nobel Prize. And that prize is for a fight that he carried against violence. And he said, I did not achieve for brotherhood to come together and stop using violence against each other. But the fact that he won the prize is a recognition of a fight carried. For brothers and sisters to stop using oppression and violence against each other. And I heard the pastor very well this morning when he spoke. We all are what we are because of each other. And justice will prevail. Thank you.
And while sitting there, and one of the rules that I was taught is that you do not, and repeat, you do not keep the governor waiting, and especially when he is in the company of the President of Parliament. My apologies for having you wait a little, but it was explained why that was the case. I had a speech prepared, but I've decided just to talk to you. Let's have a chat today on Justice Day. Justice will prevail, must prevail. I was a bit moved, as I gathered some of the others, by the sermon of the Reverend in the church. When he spoke about the nameless, those with the names, those that we know, and the many who we do not know. And while it is amazing that everyone tells me how difficult this ministry is, no one told me that before I took the job. It's only after I took the job. Nevertheless, I think it's a big honor to serve as Justice Minister. A big honor to serve as any minister for your country, but especially as Justice Minister. And I know today is a bittersweet day for many of us sitting here, because while we are talking about justice in the church, it was especially alluded to social justice, justice of the human being. And we know that there are many, many such problems within the justice ministry. There are many within the justice ministry who feel that they're among the nameless ones. Those who have to get up every morning, go and faithfully do your job. And no matter which area of the justice ministry you work, you help keep this community, the people and the visitors, you help keep them safe. You help to enable them to move around, do what they have to do without having to worry about their safety, because you are there. When speaking about the ministry of justice, we speak about the justice chain. Sorry, there's an echo. You speak about the justice chain. This means that while there are different components within the ministry, there is none more equal or more important than the other. We all have to work together. The saying goes, the chain is as strong as its weakest link. When we look at the justice chain and we look at the beginning, we should be paying more attention to prevention. Because actually we do not want to have to be prosecuting people, locking them up in jail. We want to avoid that. As we go along, we have to strengthen the police who's charged with public order, the police, the ones that you would call when you are in trouble or when you need help or when something goes wrong. And so we continue with the prosecutor's office, with the courts, with the prison. And in the end, we should also want that once someone has entered that chain, that they do not come back. So we have to also rehabilitate. But then, how can you really do that to the best of your ability when you wake up in the morning and you have to go to work and you know that you have been fighting for years for a piece of paper regulating your status? Today, we'll be honoring folks who have worked 25, 35, 40 years. Some who are complaining, rightfully so, that thank you, that we have a nice word for, we call it a gratificatie, that they didn't get. Thank you, but no thank you. The idea is not to blame anyone. If we are going to cast blame, let's cast blame on all of us. Why? Because we need to work together. All of us. We need to work together to make the justice ministry an even better ministry than it is. You folks work hard. You go out and serve your community every day. And I thank you for that. With the honoring of those folks today, it's not just a matter of handing on a piece of paper. It is expressing a sincere thank you for your years of service and a wish that you will continue to serve your community in the way that you have been doing, or even better. And then there will be a commitment from my side that all of those social injustices, as was mentioned, that exist within the ministry, if truly existing, will be dealt with. And the strive will be that no more should we know the named ones, and that many are unnamed. So when we flood Chief John with praises, we must also remember that there are many hardworking men and women who make it possible for us to praise Chief John. I do not want to make promises that cannot be fulfilled. What I can say is that we have embarked on dealing with all of those pending individual cases. And trust me, there are over 100 pending cases, varying from, you name it, promotions and what have you not. Some easy to solve, others a bit more difficult. But we have set out and set ourselves an aim that by the ending of this year, which is just 4 or 5 months, all of those cases would have been dealt with. And that is what I have to say to you. If you feel that you were among the unnamed, the unknown, you should no longer feel that way. Because I can assure you that your work is very much appreciated.
I would like to call on the Minister of Justice, Rafael Boasman, to do the presentations, and I would like to call on Khalil and Marina Sarant, yeah, to assist. The minister has already expressed his appreciation for your years of service in the departments. So we will, as you hear your name, please come up. If you're not here, please indicate that you're not here. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's begin with Rafael Mauricia. Not present. Felix Richards. Estario Petty. Okay. Duty calls. Bernard Rumu. Claudius Arundel. Wallace Leonard. This way we'll finish before 12:30. Patricia St. Rose Richardson. Okay. Etienne Levenstone. Okay. Let me congratulate you on his behalf.
Yeah.
Okay. For a job well done. That's 25 years. Long time.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Right. Alfred Leito. If you hold the mic, man. Gregory Augusta. No. Dincher John Muller. Leandro Romley. Paul Brown. Hensley Rumu. Vincent Rafaela. Congratulations with your 25 years. Viciola Angel, Edwina Boasman Patrick, Jacqueline Milton, better known as Jackie, Artwig Bell, Edsel Lichtenberg, Grendaline Levenstone, Denaida Glasgow Plantain, Sandy Adelina, now we go over to the 30-year celebrants. Janine Muller-Reina, Carl John, Chief John only has 30 years because we didn't finish tabulate his overtime yet. Helen Christina Romeo, Marion Huntington Humphrey, Nicole Van Heinigen Arendel,